What's going on, everybody? We are about to start Alliance War. 6 seconds to go, and I'm excited to see who we're going to be up against tonight. Let's get this party started. V for V. Okay. So usually what I do right in the start is I go and throw my defense boosts right off the bat. Just get that out of the way. And save one of those just for a situation where we need to throw it on something suddenly. Let's see here. I found that these guys are actually pretty good against the Sinister Six, so let's see how this works out here. That's a pretty big Doc Ock, but I'm not too worried about it. It is a little bit of a punch down, but usually we're just more concerned with doing an effective, whatever's going to be effective and taking something out. And these guys are just kind of a freebie team. They turned out to be pretty decent on war defense, but I took them off my defense in favor of throwing them on more offense, just so I have an extra team. I'd say they're pretty solid for war offense if you want to try using them on war offense. The heals with Doc Ock are going to be pretty crazy, but I'm not too worried about it. Let's try to stun him here. Nope. Oh, there we go. And do the ult here. Once I get these guys out of the picture, then it shouldn't really be a problem. They really can't do a whole lot to these guys. I mean, they're mainly a raiding team, but they're pretty solid for, just the extra freebie team for war, so that's why I'm using them. There we go. And now we'll just take out Doc Ock. Just auto it at this point, so they're pretty good against this team. I mean, even if the rest of the team were decent in size, I don't think it would be any kind of problem to take them out. I've practiced on off time with this team against a couple different teams, and they're pretty effective against the Sinister Six and even a pretty decent sized Doc Ock. This one's pretty big, so it'll be kind of cool to take him out anyways. We just got to get a stun in here. Yeah, he's pretty beefy. There's the stun. And he's out of there. No problem. I like using the Web Warriors. I think, despite the fact that they're really billed as a raid team, they're still fun to use in other modes. I'll just take that team out real quick here. My Eternals are pretty strong. and game over. My Weapon X is a little bit bigger than these guys, but maybe I should I'll just take him out. I mean, it's about that Shang-Chi. He's kind of big, so I might as well just go after him. I think my alliance mates have a bigger have bigger Weapon X teams than me, so I might as well just take this one out. I was hoping I'd get the ability block on her, and I didn't, so... But that's really not going to be too big of an issue. Right now, I was planning on bringing my Sabretooth into Dark Dimension 5, just because he's a little bit cheaper, and this is a really good team to work on. So... And I also need to bring my Silver Samurai up a little bit. He's kind of weak at the moment. But I can usually handle taking out a decent size team. You know, that it's not too big of an issue for me typically. This was a much smaller one, so I really wasn't too worried about it. But in the beginning of war, the main focus is definitely just getting through as much as we can, as fast as we can. All right, here, let's see what we got. I usually get quite a bit of attacks in right at the start and buy my refills, so I'm ready to go. And then I have to go in here and get this, and there we go. I don't think this is going to be too difficult of a war for us. We were kind of getting outclassed with some of the bigger teams. We had to fight Baby Yoda just maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago. And that was fun. That was a fun experience, to say the least. So now it's just kind of a waiting game. We're kind of double drilling through on both sides on flight deck 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, and we'll see what our targets are after this, as soon as these guys finish up their attacks. So for the most part, I've got that's a pretty big Web Warrior team there. Got 4 attacks, and then I have to wait for the first energy refill. And then I come back and hit that. And then typically I get up at 6 in the morning and I'll go again after that. Wow. Yeah, Web Warriors are no joke, man. Once you're really heavily invested in them, they're a pretty tough opponent, to say the least. Just the waiting game now. Let's see what they got going on here. Yeah, they're double drilling. I'm gonna throw a defense boost on the hangar here. I'm curious to see what he's going to use against this team here. I have yet to face a Web Warrior team of this caliber, of this size, but it's pretty crazy with only 5 red stars. I mean, with war boosts being up to 224k, that's pretty crazy. These guys are really, really good to invest in, even at low stars for Doom Raid. Pretty incredible. Yeah, we're just kind of neck and neck with them at this point. The Web Warriors have a bit of survivability going for them. That's for sure. Yeah, that's got to be kind of an interesting... It's a lot of heals, a lot of sustainability. I'll be curious to see what they end up beating him with. I'm surprised that he wasn't able to take them out with this team here, because that's actually a pretty good team. Okay. That's pretty good, and looks like he did it pretty easily with that team. So we're probably going to end up going through here. This is probably going to be the reactor, though, I'm going to guess. It's a lot of sustainability with that team. That's got to be pretty crazy to go up that much healing against that much healing. All heals. That's a cool idea. I think I might try to do that on my defense. Well, they did pretty good with the teams that they have in defense. It's slowed us down a bit here. Looks like they lost a match against one of us. Ah, there you go. Alright, let's see if that's the reactor. Oh, it's the medbay. Oh, that's nice. Let's see here. I'll use my... It's a little bit of a punch down, but the symbiotes are way past their prime, and it's still a little bit of a challenge going up against even this team, because these guys aren't very bad in war. All right, just got to get the train rolling with the debuffs. And then number one target is going to be getting rid of her, that's for sure. Yep, there we go. I was hoping that was going to kill her, but I didn't get so lucky. That's okay, though. Yeah, she is a royal pain in the butt. Wow. Yep, that's okay. We'll bring Symbiote Spider-Man back now. Now he's kind of the MVP of the team anyways. Let's do ability block on Invisible Woman. That'll help to just avoid that. And we'll do take her out, and we gotta get some offense down on this guy here. Not that he's super high, but it still helps. Get the deflects off of him. There we go. And let's just do that here. Stun him. Take him out. pretty smooth from here. That's what I'm talking about. Pretty easy now for the most part. He's a 6 red star, 7 yellow, but I mean, it's not a problem at this point. Just a matter of getting through these guys. The important thing is being kind of strategic and smart with attacks. I just try to make sure to target things that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to win, but at the same time not wanting to punch down too much, because you know it's better to utilize your teams properly. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that would have been a good one for Infinity Watch. That's pretty crazy how big that is. I haven't really faced a team like this with this composition before. I think it's going to be a bit challenging, a bit tricky. And my Secret Avengers are definitely not big enough to take this team out. But I can look and see what I've got. I'm not really sure what well, you know what, I could probably just punch up with these guys. My Nick Fury isn't too big, but I'll just hope that I can maybe do it. If not, I'll just back out, but I'm hoping that I should be able to take him. It's a bit of a punch up. I'm just concerned with how big she is, but we'll see. Hopefully this jump start here will help. Dial back their meter. Yeah, it looks like this is a pretty easy counter. I wasn't too sure because I hadn't really practiced against this team on downtime with war with this team, but I mean, when it's that size, you don't really want to take any chances, I guess, because a loss is a loss. And once these guys get rolling, man, they could be pretty tough. I mean, they've got a lot of health. That's pretty crazy how much health he's got there. And I just did that attack just to get the tap from Kestrel there. All right, so it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I mean, when I saw Polo Master, what he did with it, yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it depends on what you're using against it. I've heard that with a Black Order, you can punch down pretty good against them. It's not too bad, but you still have to punch down. So I see a lot of people putting Web Warriors on there, but I think it's just better to use them on offense against some of the older teams that are kind of out of the meta for defense. And it just kind of helps. I mean, I don't have a lot of teams because I'm more top heavy with my roster. So I don't have a lot of the teams like the Shadowlands built up super high, just because I'm more arena and Dark Dimension centric with my roster. So teams that are more raid centric or raid heavy, like the Astonishing X-Men, I built them up for raiding, and they're also good with war. So I think Web Warriors are actually not too bad with war as well against other teams. I usually try to practice as much as I can during the off time with war, and and just kind of see what I can get away with, who I can take out with that team. And they've done pretty good against different teams. I'm working on writing up kind of like an infographic of what I can use with different teams, just so I'm better prepared for war. And I think maybe it'll help out some other people as well. I'm gonna make a video specifically about that, and war, you really utilizing the practice mode in war, because I think it's such a great tool. It's such a great thing for us to have access to, that we can really understand our teams and what we can get away with. Because with what the composition of the 24 people in our alliance and what they have on their war defense, you can get a good understanding of what you're going to be able to get away with your team's power, with the punch up and punch down and whatnot, and kind of what you'll be comfortable with. So that's kind of what I try to do, and I want to spend a little bit more time with that. I think it's really important to understand what you're doing with war, instead of just going in blind and crossing your fingers and hoping you can pull off a win against a team that you're really not too sure or comfortable with. Like this team right here can be pretty tough if you don't really know what you're doing and what kind of team you should be using against them. So I usually use Secret Avengers. A lot of people use Secret Avengers against these guys, and I think that a X Factor team can do decent on them as well. And I probably would have used that my Secret Avengers had I not used them on that 1 million Web Warrior team, but that's okay. I'm just looking for a good target. I think we're in decent shape, with our hits right now. So I'm looking for something that might be a little bit better target for what my roster can handle. I fit some easier teams right now. I mean, I did get a Heroes for Hire team, but it wasn't that big. These guys are going to be some fun to go up against here soon once they buff them up. I can't say I'm looking forward to it. It looks like they're a counter to Infinity Watch, and Infinity Watch can't handle them, which is kind of odd, that these the characters themselves are able to handle the Infinity Watch, but okay. And of course, they're going to give us a war offense team to counter them. So we have that to look forward to, I guess, or not look forward to. This is a team I haven't really had too much, experience or practice with. I'm not sure if we have this team on our war defense, one of our alliance members with this team, so I'm not super comfortable going after that. I'm going to try to wait until it's something that I think is more doable. And that's typically a war offense team, so it's kind of weird that they have them on defense. Hey, I think maybe I'll just use my Weapon X on these guys. It's a little bit of a punch down, but it shouldn't be a problem. I don't feel too bad about using these guys against them. It's a good healing centric type of war defense team, but once they get rolling with this, it hopefully won't be too big of an issue. Speed is the name of the game with these guys, and they typically don't have too big of an issue with too many of the with other teams on war defense. So I just need to try to get Yo-Yo out of here. She's kind of annoying with her defense or offense down. So I usually try to take her out as quick as I can. But she doesn't have a lot of life, so that's not usually too big of an issue. Let's see if I could just take him out here. Yeah, there we go. I built my my multiple man up pretty decently because his clones actually do a decent amount of damage. Some people didn't really think that they did much damage, but they do. If you get him built up pretty good and have some decent stars on him, he could be pretty powerful. So that wasn't too bad. I still have my Infinity Watch left, and we usually try to hold off on going after these guys with Infinity Watch now. So I'll just wait and let somebody take that out. I have encountered a kind of a glitch or some kind of weird thing where you'll be watching what's going on with war. You'll see, there's 4 people attacking and it'll already be destroyed. And it's like, it's still showing that for some reason. I'm not sure why that does that. I wonder if anybody else has experienced that before. Or it kind of like lags and then just freezes and it's showing something happening that's not happening any longer. I think we're still pretty neck and neck for the most part. I've got one last attack until our next energy comes in. But so far, actually, you know what? I have 2 attacks. Forgot about that. 2 attacks. Let's see what we got next. Where we're gonna go next, anyways. It's gonna be a stat boosting room, more than likely. Actually, I think that's all that's left for the most part. A lot of gear tier 16 and oh boy, 7 red gear tier 16 Shang-Chi. That's got to be scary. I mean, he really dictates the team, man. When you have a really strong Shang-Chi, he can make it or break it for you in a fight. Just because his hits are so big, his damage is just out of this world. So that's why a lot of people are bringing him to Dark Dimension 5. I'm bringing him to Dark Dimension 5. I'm working on it right now. I just have one more piece left, I believe, until he's, well, one more of it, or some of his mini uniques are what I'm waiting for, and then I can gear him up the rest of the way. I wonder if he's yeah, that's awesome. Starting to see the Ravager team. That's an incredible team. I wonder how that team is going to do against this new Young Avenger team. I wonder if they're going to be able to do anything against them. That'd be cool, but I doubt it, knowing that it's Scopely. They're probably going to want to sell us the offensive counter to that team, but we'll have to see what happens there. Let's see if I'm going to close this out and see if this has kind of froze on me like it's done before. Maybe not. Those fights can take a little while, that's for sure. There we go. pretty sure this is our next target here. And I'm gonna go after these guys right here. It's nice having specific teams that are meant for, you have the team in mind that you want to go after. So Skilletary is the counter to this team, and I built them up because they're, with war, it's important to invest in war characters. And of course, as they come out with war defense characters, you can either slowly invest in them, or depending on where you're at in the game. I'm more free to play now, so they're gonna have the new team that they're presenting to us, Echo, and then whoever this other character is gonna be. And I'm personally not planning on buying those offers, just because it's a war-centric team. It's a war defense team, although I've heard, and you could see with Echo's kit that she's kind of a plug-and-play character. I think that I'm going to kind of hold off on that team. I'm more excited and looking forward to the Four Horsemen. Well, I know we already have Omega Red, but I definitely want to get Archangel, and I'm more excited about investing in characters like that, and then slowly over time investing in the new war offense teams that or war offense and war defense teams that we get. It's kind of cool to slowly invest in them. There's still going to be a headache and a pain in the butt as we get them. Even small amounts, they're irritating. I mean, you can have a baby hero for hire team and it's still a pain in the butt to go after them, as I'm sure everybody knows. So this shouldn't be a problem. It's a punch down, but that's okay, because not everybody is setting this team up anymore. They're kind of changing it, as you could see earlier. Not seeing a lot of this exact cookie cutter combination like we had in the past. A lot of people are putting Doom on there and Doc Ock and whatnot, so I usually try to save these guys for this specific combination. I could pretty much auto this at this point, but I'll just play it up. It's a pretty easy fight. A war offense team that was designed to counter this team. What do you know? And won't be the first, and it wasn't the first, and it won't be the last. All right, one more attack. Sometimes we get, as we're going through with war, we'll encounter different teams. We have no idea what our opponent's going to have on their war defense. And sometimes it'll be a bit into the war. We start our war at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes by 6 in the morning, the war is already decided. But sometimes it drags out if they put, depending on what teams they put on their defense, and then we have to kind of work according to that. But sometimes we need some bigger teams left over. Like I still have a couple, probably my biggest teams left over to take out teams later on in the war. So it's not always decided that quickly. So it's good to be a little reserved with what teams with your teams, instead of just kind of using them on whatever, like something like this isn't very tough, very difficult to go up against. So saving your new warriors, Infinity Watch, your Eternals. I usually try to save the Eternal teams, my Eternal team, for another Eternal team, just because it's pretty much the best matchup. Sometimes you can use Infinity Watch on them if it's like a speed Eternal team, but And this is kind of an interesting composition here. I haven't actually seen this yet. I've gone up against 1 million X-Men, Uncanny X-Men with Magic, and it's a pretty challenging fight. But with Doctor Doom, it kind of changes things a little bit. You got to go in there with some speed, I'm sure. Kestrel is definitely a good option there, or even Infinity Watch against that team is probably a good idea. That's going to be a fun one right there. And this, I would say, is to beat this team, it would just be a matter of putting Cable in right here to get that extra 5% speed. That would jump you up against these guys, and that would just get the ball rolling. And because that Loki is so small, he would just start the chain reaction. You'd kill him first shot, her probably the second, and then the three of them the third, or these two and then him. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess these guys are going to be in good shape when the rework comes. That's pretty funny. I've never seen a Wakandan team like that before. That's for sure. That's pretty crazy. Like, who would invest that much into the Wakandans? I mean, they were unlucky enough, I guess, to get like 7 red stars on these guys. I don't really know what... I didn't see what she had on hers. Okoye. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the point of putting them on more defense? I don't really understand. Just for a meme, for fun. I'm curious to see what Gala King is using against these guys. I probably would have used my Infinity Watch, but my Infinity Watch is pretty big. It's like 1.2 million with the war buffs, and I think, let's see what they've taken out so far. So, I mean, we still have our armory's almost done now. So that's going to affect things. Yeah, these guys are pretty quick. Yeah, we've hit a little bit of a snag here. I wonder if we're going to just maybe go after security next. Yeah, that's the typical team that I would use against them, but I already used them, so. I was just gonna say, he probably gets excited when Gamma comes around. Good for him. I mean, we're laughing now, but that dude's gonna be really happy once that rework comes. So here we go. Armory has been defeated or destroyed, and it's frozen. So there we go. All right. Going for the bridge. That's the path of least resistance. I guess that makes sense. Probably gonna wait, hold off, and see what other opponents we have in here instead of going against these smaller teams. This team is still surprisingly good even with a smaller Magic. Hopefully, let's check and see what our... So we got 11 to, so we're up. That's not bad. 11 to 8. So we're actually, even though they may seem like they're pulling ahead, they have a lot more losses than us. 3 more anyways, so we're still doing good. Let's see what teams I've got left here. I mean, I'm not sure. Not really sure how well these guys perform against them, but that's too big of a punch down. I can't do it. With our alliance, we've got, you know, quite a few of our members in different time zones, so yeah, we're not like some alliances where everybody's on the same time zone and they just start kind of getting in, and all 24 members or the majority of their members doing what they're doing, and they pull ahead a little bit. But by 6 in the morning our time, you know, with I call it our night shift, when our night shift comes on, it's a completely different ball game by 6 in the morning, and then we can typically wrap things up at that point. These are smaller teams. I don't really want to. I don't want to go after these guys. So, is anybody excited about the next tower mode? Avengers Tower. I'm actually looking forward to the next one. They said it's going to be in about 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something like that, or 30 days. I can't remember the exact timing on it, but I think that was actually a pretty cool mode that they came up with, and I'm really looking forward to that. I like that you pretty much have to utilize, or you can utilize another one of your tabs for making characters, or your character tabs. So that first tab, I started using that to make my tower kind of character composition, and I personally went the method of just trying to climb the tower, versus I know some people were they were doing the lose, you know, go back down, stage down to 50 and then work their way back up again. I just wanted to see how far I could go. So that's kind of what my game plan was, my method was. Yeah, that's a tricky team. It seems like, I mean, from what we were used to with that team previously, it was definitely a pushover, and now it's been changed for sure, just from magic, and just a very small magic can make a huge difference. But yeah, I'm not sure if I want to mess around with this team. Usually around this point we kind of slow down a little bit, and probably would have gone after that team with my Astonishing X-Men. I'm not really sure. Maybe I should. I was gonna say maybe I should try to hit this team with these guys. It's a punch down, but I mean, not really with Silver Surfer that's that big. But let's see how this goes. I haven't really tried practicing something like this with these guys, but I don't think I don't know. I think I could take them. I think I'm going to try to go after Yo-Yo just so I could start doing some damage. Hopefully it's not Beast. Perfect. Clear those debuffs, and I really want to take her out. Probably should have targeted. Oh, she's doing some dodging. All right, here we go. This will take her out, hopefully. I would like to get a blind on let's stun him. I was a little worried that I wouldn't have been able to stun. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Okay, that's not good. Oh boy. There we go. Hopefully. Ah, dang it. I was hoping that stun was gonna land. We got this though. The only thing I'm concerned about is his heals, the healing factor with Silver Surfer, but hopefully I can, there we go. All right. Good. I feel good about that. Seems like a punch down, but it could be a little tricky, or could have gotten a little tricky. Kind of started to get tricky there for a minute, but pulled it off. All right, so that's my attacks, and I just want to say thanks for tuning in.